Oh wow, we have super quantums, ice barriers, and even Tellarknights today. Make sure you guys smash the link crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more content. This is really cool to actually see some super quantum action with the K9 package actually being a nice little meta challenger. Now, we've talked a little bit about super quantum in the past. This is not our first time actually seeing this deck kind of coming out and actually trying to be a strong little challenger for the meta. But my only concerns is, like, man, the dedication that you have to make to get the great Magnus on the field usually feels very bad. It's quite an expensive strategy to pull off, and I do appreciate the fact here that players are trying out different variations here to try to make some sort of success out of this deck. And also with Max E going away now, maybe just maybe this actually might be a cool idea to actually test out. Next up here, we have ice barriers with the first penguin. The more that I see this first penguin card kind of creeping out here, the more I kind of appreciate just how much it's trying to help out, you know, these different water strategies and how we are actually seeing this making a difference within the space. Obviously, you know, you still have the water barrier statue, you still have General Ryo. Both of these cards are, by the way, very broken in their own right for how they have basically interacted over the years here, trying to push this into a more positive direction. But also because the OCG now has Totally Awesome and Bahamut Shark back, you know, players just want to test out the waters with this interaction. It tends to be the case for quite a lot of exploration right now. So I got to give it to them, man. Bahamut Shark and Totally Awesome. It's the trap that keeps giving. Next up here, we have Tellarknights with the Magistus package. Now, you're probably asking yourself, you know, what is the point of this? Well, the Borderload Savage Dragon, obviously. The more that we have seen these lists kind of evolving with the times, I mean, Borderload Savage Dragon is one of the dumbest cards that I feel like we have had an opportunity to see all of this play coming from. And it's honestly kind of a good idea to see also, you know, Crowley being the extension package, giving you access into Chorozo. I mean, obviously Chorozo is kind of the point that also helps you make into the package. We also do see that obviously with the Tellarknight package, your job is just to set up generic good floodgate stuff, you know, jump into the Ptolemaios and then just kind of grind out your opponent. I've heard a lot more complaints about Ptolemaios than I actually should be hearing right now, but I mean, the toolbox that this deck does have is incredibly strong. Next up here, we have more Radiant Typhoon. Now, for what we have been paying attention to this deck still has the same tricks that it's had up its sleeve that made the deck such a strong challenger out of the next play event. You know, during the next play events, pre-banless, we got to see, you know, the Radiant Typhoons using the crowns, using droplets, using the Fallen and the Virtuous. You're basically playing a control game, and then you have the Wind Twins to basically try to calm down whatever excess is going to be coming out of this, which is basically your full stop, actually. You have the ability to just kind of throw the wrench at them, and especially when you have access to the Harpy's Featherstorm. Time and time again, we've seen that. Also, it's kind of interesting that this build was maximizing on triple MST. I feel like that is still a little bit too much, but it comes down to deck building for sure. Next up, we have Yummy and Friends. Now, the fact that this build is actually side decking 2 Heat Wave of all things is pretty telling of this deck's evolution. So now you're telling me here that I can actually use the Heat Wave to go second in Yummy, or excuse me, to go first, because, I mean, what's your good end board that you've got? You've got like a Herald coming up and a couple of like little interchangeable pieces. And for whatever reason, this build just chose not to play Borderload Savage Dragon. I'm not really sure why this build didn't want to play one of its best boss monsters that it could have access to, because that just doesn't feel necessarily right to me. Because at certain points, I feel like you just want to make sure that you can actually play your good boss monsters, because isn't that the point? You know, you get access to the ability to slow down the course of the game. Like, you should probably be taking it, honestly. Next up is, oh, hi, Tribrigade with lunalites. So I've been seeing a lot of these builds have been developing towards triple copies of Fractal. The whole point of using Fractal to just get the deck dumped and to get those key pieces that you're going to need lined up is very, very strong. Now, obviously, you are going to see that this deck does get to be a little bit of a meanie head, and it does get to play triple copies of Forbidden Crown. Blocking your opponent's monster on the field and making it so that they cannot do any advancement in game state with that monster does cause some very, very big problems for them, because 2 Lunalite boss monsters just gets the chance to come down and smack that, and that does cause some very, very, very big problems for the deck. So yeah, Lunalite is still going to be a very, very, very sickening deck. Next up, we have more Ice Barrier for you. I guess the OCG just loved this deck this weekend, especially considering, you know, this is the more hand loop good stuff. Obviously, a Bahamut Shark and Totally Awesome, both of these being some major key contributors here to actually pushing this deck out in a little bit more of a positive direction, I think is pretty nice, actually. The fact that the OCG still has Dimensional Barrier, too, is kind of crazy. So, basically, even though, you know, this is more Ice Barrier-centric, you do still see that we are relying on Neptibus to kind of be that little dropping point for this deck, just to make sure that we can kind of generate some consistency, just so we can kind of push the deck in that more positive direction, just so that, you know, we can continue to develop and actually see what we can possibly do here. But outside of that, I think we've got some very positive background for this deck. Also citing the Marksman is great. Next up, we have Madocha Yummy. This was a build that this is not our first time seeing this. Actually, we've seen this come up quite a little bit, and it is an interesting little character for what this deck thinks it's going to be doing. Because obviously, you know, you're using the small supplemental package just to be able to get the extra little forms of interruption up. Because being able to shuffle back, you know, during your opponent's turn while you've got like a Borreload Savage Dragon set up on the field is kind of stupid, honestly. And also, Yummy players have been looking for any sort of supplements that they can kind of put into the deck, just to go, hey, you know, we've got some major key lines set up here. So, you know, what benefit is it going to work for us? Well, it's working out pretty gosh darn well, actually. I've enjoyed seeing the different ideas these Yummy players are really trying to push for. So, interesting. Next up here, we have Mitsurugi. Wow. The fact that we are only playing 2 Habagiri in here is such a crazy time, but you're also going to notice here that we have a Rizal package built in here, and we are also using the Dododo good stuff to basically set up and get circulation going as well. Oh boy. How many different overlays and different engines are we actually going to be pushing for here to have a positive direction actually occur here? That's kind of crazy, honestly. But once again, this just proves like how much the rank 4 good stuff package is still able just to work for you, man. Like, I don't know. It's pretty crazy to me just to see how powerful the Mitsurugi package has actually withstood itself within the test of time, and it continues to baffle me. Like, good stuff. And we've also got some Dracotail action for you. Going with the 2 Fallen of White and the 1 branded Albaz. I think that's all fine in terms of numbers. We're also doing Borreload Savage Dragon, and I see we're doing 2 Magical Hound down here and 2 Secret Village. You're telling me all of a sudden that this deck wants to be one of the bad boys in the room, actually doing some Secret Village locks against the opponent, because it can actually do it, and it does it quite well. That's a hilarious thing to see. Well, can't say I didn't have that on my my agenda, but all right, cool. So what do you guys think about these cool decks? Please do comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here in day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.